Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
And we are going to go ahead and move on to our next review with Radford. Hi, Radford.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, anytime. I mean, I do run the show and everything, so
Yes.
I'm happy to have you. Now, you have a brand new Lenovo laptop. I personally am a big fan of the IdeaPad line, but I wanted to find out what's your take on this one. Why do you like it?
Before we get into the verdict of it all,
Yeah.
I think one of the things I do like about it is the fact that it's actually very stylish. So the Idea line has always been like very stylish, using a lot of nice little curves, a little bit more thicker than we're used to seeing right nowadays. But the one thing that's kind of a miss for me is that it's not touch. So it's still in the laptop world. We're still.
Now, are you running Windows 8 even though it's not touch?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, and with 8.1 around the corner, this is kind of in this weird spot where the laptop is kind of figuring out where it stands in the market. You know what I mean? So,
personally, I feel like it's a bit of a drawback if they don't have touch on a laptop now, especially with Windows 8 after I've been using it for months and months.
Yeah. So, I mean, the cool thing about it, I mean, aside from the fact that it doesn't have touch, though, is it's running full HD. It has some, power behind it. So you have a 750 GT, GeForce behind it.
Oh, nice.
And it's SLI.
Cool.
So it almost seems like it's going to be a sleeper laptop, making it look like it's going to compete with, like, the big boys like Asus, which I didn't review.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which I reviewed not too long ago, right?
Yes.
But
can you game on this one?
That's the thing. And so, I'll just get straight to it. I did a test on it with 3D Mark.
Okay.
And I ran a couple of games on it, like Portal 2, Patrick's favorite.
Yes.
And, Bioshock. But it did struggle, so which is kind of somewhat misleading, but again, we're looking at a 750 versus a 760 or 770.
And of course, they're not toting this as a gaming laptop either. They're toting it as like a multimedia, high-end laptop.
Right. So as a high-end laptop, I mean, it's kind of right there. I actually have some specs right over here where they talk about it.
Okay.
We're at least on the 3D Mark, and it says right now it's about, 10% of all results. You probably can't see this right now because it's just too small, but at some point, there you go. So it's 10% better than all the stuff that's been, running 3D Mark 11. So it's a little bit slower than your standard gaming laptop.
Take down the brightness just a little bit for us.
Maybe you could just do this. Yeah, maybe the brightness is a little too bright.
Do you have it up all the way?
Yeah, I could always zoom in a little bit.
It gets really bright.
So how about that? There you go.
Very nice.
So for something like this, I mean, if you're looking at performance, it's somewhere along the lines of someone wanting to watch a bunch of videos, do some work on Photoshop, do some work on Premiere.
Okay.
So it works for that. But if you're going to game on it, then you're a little bit short from that.
Yeah. What kind of screen resolution do you get on it?
So it's the full HD. You got 1920 by 1080.
Okay.
And it has a couple of things going on for it. So aside from the resolution and some pretty good power behind it, you got some nice speakers here. They're all JBL. And you have an HD webcam and some other stuff here.
Okay.
You have this thing called Ultra Bay, which replaces the drives with SLI video cards. So
interesting.
You'll feel a little bit of the heat on the side from here.
You feel that? Oh yeah, you can feel it coming out just a little bit.
Yeah, you'll feel it a little bit more as you're working with more like CPU-intensive applications like Premiere and Photoshop. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, this is what it's for.
Yes, that's true. Now, speaking of Photoshop, it's really important that you're able to use the keyboard and the touchpad really, really well for those programs.
Right.
Do you like this keyboard and the touchpad?
So the keyboard is actually pretty nice, and it's a full keyboard along with some cursor keys here. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's the number pad is actually nicely placed. The keys are a little bit smaller than what I'm used to because there's a little bit more spacing than what I'm used to seeing with other laptops. But the cool thing is it's backlit, like you expect from other laptops. And then you have double gesture based, so you have multi-touching on your trackpad, so that's cool, right? So, but it still doesn't get away from the fact that it's in this weird spot where it's a laptop and then Windows is in this transition of going to touch, and Lenovo is like in this weird space where it's like, well, this is a good laptop and you provide a lot of value for the dollar.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part it does provide it, but it's in a weird situation right now.
Yeah.
But it runs Haswell, so
Oh, that's good.
So,
are you running a i5 or i7?
It's i7.
i7,
yeah.
okay, great.
So when you're, at least for most of the apps that I'm running on here, it lasts for at least 6 or 7 hours.
Oh, wow.
And when you're running a game or anything like that, something that's intensive, then you're looking at 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So.
That's not bad.
Yeah, as well as doing its job. You know?
Yeah.
Outside of that, aesthetics-wise, you know, it's kind of a fingerprint magnet.
Yes.
So you're, I mean, when you're.
I did notice that on your trackpad.
Yeah, when you're dealing with like aluminum, you know, brushed aluminum, it's kind of like, you know, you kind of get that feeling that you're going to have some kind of touch. I mean, if you could see this right here, here's a little bit of the...
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah. But I mean...
That's not too bad, though.
Yeah, it's not really that bad. And if you're okay with just kind of wiping it down, then it's not really much of a con.
Yeah,
you know?
and you're not going to get any problems with your screen either,
yeah,
since
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not touch.
pretty much. Yeah, that's a big
So
thing,
I guess you could look at that as a pro.
Yeah, it depends on, you know, how you look at it.
So other than the i5 and the graphics card, what else do you have on the inside? What other specs?
Well, they have this thing always on USB, so if you connect something onto it, even if the computer's powered off, you can actually connect your, you know, your smartphones or your tablets to power them on.
Ooh.
So it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And it's also the same way when there's still power inside the laptop. You can have it disconnected from the adapter and still have power at your laptop. So it almost acts as like a second battery. But
that's cool.
Yeah. But other than that, the performance is pretty decent. The sound is pretty good. I actually had some tracks over here.
Go ahead and play something for us.
Yeah, so here's one from...
And it looks like you have USB 3.0, Ethernet, that's nice, VGA connector.
So you can see this is not so tinny.
No, it's not. It's got a little bit of bass.
Yeah.
A lot more than what I have on my laptop, that's for sure.
Yeah, and this is...
Okay,
you know,
it's not that bad.
This is one of those songs that has, you know, amount of range and the vocals, they sound pretty crispy.
So what kind of ports do you have on the other side? I can't see those from there.
Oh, the ports here? Let's see. Can you see that right here?
So I got the 3.0.
I'm trying to look through the camera.
Do you have HDMI or anything like that on here?
There is HDMI out.
Ah,
they have,
okay, cool.
They have some ports on this side here. Yeah, that's actually USB 3.0.
Okay.
And then those are the fans, and
Yeah.
you see fans on the other side too. So this thing blows air like nothing.
Cool. And then your other side.
On the other side over here.
Yeah.
You got these
that's
guys
nice.
here, and you have a VGA
There's your
port.
HDMI.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have Ethernet, so that's always a
Cool.
plus.
That's
And
not
you'd
bad.
expect that from this kind of thickness from a laptop.
Yeah, no kidding. So what are your pros and cons for this?
So the pros, I'm gonna have to go to my phone here because I just suck at memorizing all this stuff. And I have to unlock it because I suck. So the pros, I give it, it's a great value per dollar. It has a clean design and it has some nice multimedia features.
And the price is under $1,000?
It's for at least the for where it starts, right?
Yeah.
And then it tops off at the 1,200 area.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. You know what I mean? But again, I keep talking about where it stands in this whole marketplace. And then on the con side, it's non-touch. It's a fingerprint magnet, and then a battery drainer when you're using intense apps.
Good point.
And it's heavy.
Yeah.
So, and nowadays we're starting to see more ultrabooks. We're starting to see more touch-based stuff.
That's very true. Yeah, touch is becoming more and more important in this day and age. Not necessarily for gaming laptops, but for people that use it on a daily basis, just for regular processing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, what is your verdict?
My verdict is a try.
A try, okay.
The reason why I say this is because of the fact that there are some people that really don't care much about touch. They're just going to do some work.
That's true.
And for the most part...
Some people probably just put Windows 7 on it and
they're
be
just
good
going
to
to probably install Windows 7 on it, which would be viable for them. And for those people that are out there looking at this review right now, they're going to see this as, oh, okay, this is definitely something along the lines of what I'm looking for.
Yes.
I want to play music, I want to watch videos, I want to be able to do some work on it. I want to RDP to my machine, whatever.
That's very true.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it's a mid-range machine.
Yeah.
It's high-end, but in a mid-range of all the other high-end laptops that are available out there. Personally, it's not. It wouldn't be my first choice, just because touch is really important to me now. Now it is.
Yeah, and